So you guys, I've already put my seasoning in my meat, but I'll let you guys know what I put inside. This is a Jamaican all-purpose seasoning. I got it at the African store, and I didn't put that much in there. And then I put OGbono Ground in it as well. And then I put Adobe inside. And then I put a little bit of total seasoning. That is an Haitian seasoning. And I put minced garlic. And then I mix it around so that way the seasoning can get into the meat. This meat, I've already boiled some of it. I've already boiled it, but then I just mixed the seasoning while after it was boiled. So I just mix it as much as I can just to get that seasoning inside. So then I actually didn't have enough meat, so I went and added more meat. You guys, make sure you add 2 bags of beef because I only added 1, but I needed 2 bags instead. So that's why I went back and added 2 bags. You see how my water is full. You can choose to take out the water, or you can just boil it like that. I decided to boil it like that. So I put it on this side so that way we can go ahead and start doing the tomato seasoning, or the tomato ingredient, or the tomato sauce, sorry. So first what we're going to do is we're going to get a cutting board. If you don't have one, you can use your counter. That's what I usually do. But I got my cutting board this time. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and get ready to start cutting. You guys, my stove was smoking. I did get the tomatoes. This time I'm getting the tomatoes. And I don't keep my onions in the fridge. I keep my tomatoes in the fridge, but my onions, I keep them in the cupboard. That's why you see me going and getting those. So then we're going to have our tomatoes. And make sure you get a knife. So then let's get into the cutting process. So now that we're done cutting, we're gonna go ahead and start putting seasoning cube, chicken cube. You can put one of those. So I blend everything first, all the onions first before I start putting seasoning. So I'll put one chicken cube in there. And then I blend. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the adobo, a little bit, not too much. I know that seemed a lot, but it wasn't that much. And then I'm going to go ahead and put minced garlic in there just to give it that taste. And then you guys, I did put my oil already, so that way that can be already boiling. And then I gone ahead and put the Haitian seasoning. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend again. Make sure to blend everything really well, so that way it doesn't come out like chunky, or the seasoning like doesn't just like stay in the paste. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but then everything is blended pretty well. And so the next step is basically just removing the blade and out of the blender, and then we're gonna go ahead and stir the oil, and then little by little first put in the tomato just to see if the heat is high. So I'm gonna go ahead and put up the heat. We're gonna keep stirring to see if the heat, if the oil has boiled or now that you have stirred the tomato and the onions together, just making sure that the paste, it becomes like a paste, like really dry. All the water is or oil is out. So you want to keep stirring it so that way it gets to that paste. So that way it tastes better, and all the seasoning and everything can really go in to the sauce. And then my beef in the back is boiling really well. I did put a lot of water because, like I said, I used 2 bags of meat, so the water did kind of get full, so the pot did kind of fill up with the water. So I'm just going back and forth stirring this tomato and onion sauce. I'll just keep stirring it until it gets till all the liquid shrinks out of it, and then that way I know it's prepared. Always make sure to taste it in between to see if it tastes really well. And I'm gonna add a little bit of more seasoning. You guys, seasoning is very important, because if your food does not taste good, there's no point in cooking it if it does not taste good. So basically, just making sure that you add more seasoning as you go along. If you feel like it doesn't taste good, just keep adding a little bit of seasoning. Don't add too much where it's salty. Add enough where the seasoning is not too salty, and then it's not like unseasoned. So I keep testing it, but it's good. It tastes really good now. So we can go ahead and continue stirring until it becomes like paste, like dry. Now that we've actually finished the sauce, I put it on a different stove to cook. We're gonna go ahead and boil the water for the fufu, so that way that can be boiling while the sauce is cooking. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn up the heat with this. Make sure you have your fufu handy next to you, and then as well, make sure you have your fufu stick. I use the wooden one. I don't know which one you use, but I use the wooden one to make my fufu. And then I'm just gonna allow the water to boil, so that way when it boils, I can cook the fufu better. I don't like to add the fufu when the water hasn't boiled. You want it to really boil, and then once it's boiled, you're gonna go ahead and turn down the heat. And you guys, I've always been taught by my mom to clean while you're cooking. It just makes it cleaner when you're done, so that way you're not cleaning again and fixing the area. So just fix everything while you're cooking, so that way when you're done, everything is clean. It's a very long process, but you guys, it helps. Like once I'm done cooking, everything is already clean. All I have to do is just clean the pots and plates and everything else that I need to at my sink location. So the stove area is already clean by the time I'm done. So let's go ahead and get into making the fufu. Just keep watching. It's a simple process. Like I said, just make sure your water boils really well. And then once you start putting in that fufu, you're stirring really well when you do that. So this is the fufu stirring stick that I use. It's very long, and I've seen people to have shorter ones, but I like to use this one just to go ahead and make my fufu. So go ahead and watch the whole entire process. So you guys, once you're done doing that, you're gonna go ahead and just keep stirring the fufu. Add a little bit if it's too soft. In my country, we like the fufu a little bit hard, not too soft. We're not used to soft fufu. It has to be a little bit harder, not too hard to the point where you can't eat it. Soft enough where it's just chewy in your mouth, hard enough where it's not slimy in your hands. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get you can get anything to put under, so that way the pot is not on the floor to burn your floor, but just so that way it protects your floor. And then you're gonna get both sides, and then you're just gonna tuck it in and make sure your feet are not burning as well, because you don't want your feet to burn. I've done that before, and it's not an exciting feeling. So you're gonna go ahead and keep going back and forth like this until the fufu is very blended in, because you don't want the bumps, and then you don't want the white powder staying. So you guys continue to watch and keep pounding that fufu. Now that we're done with the fufu, we can go ahead and check our sauce, our stew actually, and to see how it's coming out. You guys, I did put it, like I said, on the other stove, so it is coming out great. We want to let the meat boil really well. You don't want hard beef, because it will hurt your teeth when you are eating it. So we want to make it as soft as possible. Plus, I like soft meat. My husband likes soft meat. We like soft meat. So we're going to go ahead and finish up here with this meat. So now that we're done with the food, we're going to go ahead and start to get ready to serve the food. So what I do is I just take one of my nice plates, and I take a spoon. This is for my rice cooker, but I just use it, and I go around. And you guys, the spoon is just that way. That's not yucky color or anything. That's just how it is. And then we're gonna go ahead and scoop. You see how, you guys, it's not too soft and not too hard. So we're just gonna go ahead and scoop it out like this. Make sure that it's well rounded on your plate. And then while the food is still hot and cooking, we can go ahead and take our portion, just place it on the plate neatly and nicely. Presentation is the key. So we're just gonna go ahead and put as much as we can, because you want enough where you can finish the fufu. I've seen where people just take a little bit of food, and then they still have the fufu left over. Now we're gonna go ahead and show you the final touch. Just beautiful.